In the name of Christ, who is risen. Amen. Well, let's do it again. Alleluia! Christ is risen.
The Lord is risen indeed. Alleluia.
But it was just Holy Week. Friday, it was miserable in here. I mean, really. Jean gave a marvelous sermon, but it was sad. It was dark. In fact, the whole week was kind of rough. If you were here last Sunday, we had the Passion story then. And it was just the Passion all week long, and it was heavy, and it was hard, and it was tough. And that's a good thing. It's necessary, really, because the world is like that. It's hard, and it's tough, and it's dark out there sometimes. Christianity means nothing if it does not address that reality, if it does not squarely face things like genocide in Rwanda, or tsunamis in Japan, or war, or even the senseless murder of two good people and the destruction of their families in a town in Washington. God must be in that too. But where is the resurrection in all that? How do we dare speak words of hope in the face of real darkness? Not pretend darkness, not play-acting darkness, but real darkness. Let me say that I feel the darkness as much as anyone. I know that sometimes we feel like we have lost hope. Sometimes we even feel as though we've turned our backs on God. We feel so very hopeless. And I think it's really important in those moments when we are not sure we even believe that we remember Good Friday. We remember that, yes, indeed, the darkness can be overwhelming, and that it is human to despair, and that even Jesus encountered this blackness to the degree that he cried out, my God, why?" But we also know this, that even as Jesus cried those words of true despair, the resurrection had already begun. Its seeds were irreversibly sown into the fabric of all life, into the self-giving love of God, into the life of Jesus that drew him to that cross. And the resurrection is sown in you and me. The resurrection began when the world was created. God gave the power of new life to the earth so that after the death of winter, even the longest and hardest of winters, cherry trees would blossom. Grass would sprout green. The tender yellow-green leaves would begin to drip from the willows. Where there was brown dirt, the proud green heads of hostas are shooting up even now. The resurrection began when Mary said yes. When she took that crazy risk and laid down her own life for the hope of saving her people. When she accepted the possibility of abandonment and even death so that she could bear the one who would bring the mighty down from their thrones, lift up the lowly, and fill the hungry with good things. The resurrection began at Christmas, when poor shepherds and wise Gentiles listened to the angels and followed the stars, awakening to the good news of God at work in human life. The resurrection began when Jesus entered the desert, when he said, I let go of everything I've ever done and everything I've ever known, and I surrender completely to you, God, and beg you to reveal your life in me. It began when he entered the water of baptism and died to being a carpenter, a good son, an obedient, respectable member of his community, a father, and rose again to start something radical and new. The resurrection began when he preached good news to the poor, liberty to the captives, and gave sight to the blind. When he fed the hungry, made friends with the Samaritans, blessed the children, touched the unclean. The resurrection began when he taught us to love our enemies, to pray for those who mistreat us, to stand in courageous opposition to oppression.